Hey there, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to do a review and demo today on the new Giorgio Armani Power Fabric Foundation. I picked this up recently and I know many of you had questions about it and my thoughts and wanted to see it in action. So I figured I would just show you how it looks going on, my thoughts on it. I've been wearing it for, I don't know how long now, like a week or two, and pretty much going for it almost every day just so I can get to see how it wears on different days, if my skin is acting differently. And I definitely have some thoughts on it. So let's first start with the demo. I have it in the shade 3.5. I did also purchase shade 2, but it was on back order, and once I got the 3.5, the 3.5 was fine, so I went ahead and canceled the back order of the 2. It looks like it would be too dark, but it actually is not. So I'm going to use my Beauty Blender to apply it. Ugh, my dry patch is back down here in my chin. Ugh. It goes and comes, and then when it's here, unfortunately, there's not much I can do. I just kind of try to use different oils on it and whatnot. Okay, so it definitely gives full coverage. I mean, if you've used full coverage makeup before, like Derma Blend or MAC full coverage, I mean, obviously it's not going to be that, but for an everyday non-stage type makeup, it does give quite a good amount of coverage. And it is supposed to be more of a very kind of long wearing, more of a matte finish. For me, it does. As I'm applying it, obviously with the wet Beauty Blender, it's going to have some, dampness, and it's going to look a little bit more dewy when first applied because I'm using the damp Beauty Blender. And I prefer to use it because it's a little more matte. I wanted to give a little bit more moisture to my skin as I'm applying it. Pretty decent full coverage. I'm sure you can sheer it out by just using less if you want to, or I'm pretty sure this is about as full as it's going to get. And it does, someone did mention that they didn't think it was full coverage enough. Like I said, if you're used to a very heavy like stage makeup or like a very heavy coverage like MAC full coverage or Derma Blend or something like that, I definitely think this is obviously not going to be as strong. But like I said, for an everyday kind of makeup, it does cover everything. Like it even like a little blemish down here, my dry patch, any type of unevenness on my skin, it covers it all. So it kind of looks a little healthy, a little slightly radiant on the skin, but it does dry down rather quickly to a more velvety finish. Definitely more of a velvety matte finish. The thing with Armani foundations for me is they always looked great on my face, but my T-zone would always get exceptionally oily when wearing any of the formulas. So much so that it looked like a marked difference between the rest of my face and my T-zone. Whereas some foundations I'll get oily, and I kind of get oily all over, so it looks a little bit more even. But with the Armani foundations, I just found consistently that it would only be my T-zone that would get oily. Everything else would stay looking as beautiful as it is when you first put it on, like the foundation I have on now. It's so beautiful when I first apply it. And that's why I've been kind of on the fence about, do I really like it, do I not? Because when I first put it on, as it's starting to dry down, I don't know if you can see, it's starting to look a lot more velvety and that kind of smooth airbrush velvety finish that I love. Then as the day goes on, what I've been finding for me is that oily T-zone begins to come through at like midday. So I have this beautiful velvety matte face with a very shiny nose and center forehead. Not even my chin as much, it's just my nose and my center forehead. And that's what's been keeping me off of the completely love side of the fence with this foundation. That's why I kind of, when I wear it, I'll look in my face and I'm like, oh, I just love the initial finish. And then as the day goes on, it just starts to get shiny right there, and it's so, so frustrating. It doesn't oxidize. I don't find that it oxidizes on me. 3.5 seems like a good match for me. I definitely think it probably would be even better for me in the summertime. Now, if you have drier skin, I think this could really work because I don't find that it pulls on any dry patches. I have a dry patch down here. My dry patch looks smooth and even. It's not pulling with the foundation. And I don't find as the day goes on that it looks any more kind of dry because of the foundation. Maybe my patch gets drier, but the foundation doesn't look kind of like, it doesn't look very obvious when it's on it. I found that the Damp Beauty Blender really helped though with that. I haven't tried it with any other application tools, like a brush or anything. I do think if you have combination skin, you may run into the issue that I've been having with getting oily down the center of the face. But I don't know, maybe not. It's supposed to stay very matte and long wearing. It is very long wearing. I did find it begin to kind of show some fine lines. That's where my foundation has to pull apart as the day goes on. I'll like show some fine lines sometimes in my forehead and right around my nose. It begins to kind of pull apart. It was doing a little bit of that. So, but nothing where I was like, whoa, all of a sudden it's like disappearing off my face. It was very like a natural kind of progression as the day went on. And so long wearing wise, I did feel that it was quite long wearing, but like I said, as I kept looking in the mirror and I just wanted my nose and my forehead to be a little bit more even with the rest of my face. It was such a marked difference. But that being said, I didn't return it. So that tells you a lot. Sometimes I'll buy foundations and I test them out. And I mean, most of the time I can kind of work with them, but there's some that I just really, if it's just not working for me, I will go ahead and return it. But I did not return this and I decided to keep it and keep using it. So that does tell you that I do want to keep using it. I do like the finish on my skin, but it is not a love for me. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Armani foundation. I'm going to go ahead and just finish the rest of my makeup and then we can wrap up the video. Okay, so my makeup's all finished. I'll go ahead and list everything that I used below. I just did like a really quick simple eye with my Armani eye tint number 11, I believe, and some cheeks with the new Too Faced Peach. Peach line, and then an Hourglass gloss in the shade Canvas on the lips. But I'll go ahead and link everything and all the other details below. If you're looking for a foundation that gives you some coverage, that's going to give you a very polished makeup look, maybe you work in a very professional work environment or you just prefer a very polished makeup foundation look, I think this would be a really great option. Like I said, if you do have dry skin, I think it would work. I think it would look really beautiful on dry skin, but I would try using it with a Damp Beauty Blender. And if you have combination to oily skin, you're really going to have to decide if you want to take the gamble. Maybe try and get a sample of it or just decide to, buy it on maybe Nordstrom and then return it after 1 or 2 uses if you're not liking it. But you may, come to really enjoy it like I am and learn to just live with the slightly off T-zone if that's what you experience. So I hope this was helpful. And I will link, like I said, I'll link all of the makeup that I used quickly in my little get ready. I know I didn't film the get ready, but I figured I'd just link everything anyway. And I will talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.